Monster Hunter Wilds. Is everyone excited? Because it's gonna be good.
Everyone, it's officially time. Monster Hunter Wilds is here. I have it, not the whole thing. It's an open beta. They basically are doing this thing where they're letting people try it to test server
Look at this. It's already fantastic.
infrastructure, to test all sorts of stuff. But if you are a PlayStation Plus subscriber, you can try it right now. And if you're on Steam or Xbox, you'll be able to, but it's just going to take another few days. But in this video, I wanted to give you an idea of what the game actually has to offer. I've been playing it for the last few hours with my buddy Corey. Shout out to Corey, who got me into Monster Hunter originally with Monster Hunter World to start with. And so I have some thoughts after doing a handful of monster hunts and seeing what this very, very slim...
Is there anyone actually not... Oh, did I say Worlds? It's Monster Hunter Wilds, sorry. I guess it doesn't really matter. But is anyone here not actually anticipating this to be an absolute banger? Because, not gonna lie, if we exclude the fact that when you equip a shield on a female, it uglifies them, which is one of the hilarious bugs because it's not intentional, you know, I think this is gonna be a zinger, a banger. It's gonna be great, okay?
Sliver of the game has to offer. But to give you a quick synopsis, I really enjoyed my time so far with Monster Hunter Wilds. I've been pleasantly surprised at how familiar it feels while still offering some fresh ideas. It does not feel like a reinvention. It does not feel like anything totally crazy or wild. It's more Monster Hunter in the best way possible. And while I have a couple of concerns here and there that I'll point out here in just a minute, overall, I am even more confident that this is another Capcom slam dunk, which is perhaps sorely needed in the industry. So we always need more Capcom slam dunks, don't we? So yeah, we're going to talk all about it. But first, I want to say thank you to our sponsor for this video, HelloFresh. HelloFresh is the meal breakfast for life. Okay, thank you, Luke from the past. Let's get back into it. I want to describe my feelings in the opening hour or so, because I started this up. I made like a basic character in the character creator, and then I just was like, start, let's go. And
show us the gameplay.
Yeah,
no one cares about your actual opinion.
I'll explain, but I had a little heart attack about 27 minutes or so into this. I was actually a little scared when I first booted it up, because when you first boot it up, you see this screen, and then you go through a handful of little cutscenes. And then this happened where I finished a mission. I was like, okay, what's happening? Fade to black. And then I got this splash screen. This was like all of 27 minutes into my playtime, and I was like, no way, this is only a 27-minute beta where we fought one tutorial monster. Like, I can't complain.
Obviously not, but that would be kind of scary. True, I get it.
It was free, but that's so disappointing. But no. It's not like that at all. As you can see, there's another like 2 hours after this. Like, there's a lot more. They just... like, that's where the story progression ends, and then it's just going to open up and let you freely do whatever you want. But yeah, I had a little heart attack when I saw this. I was like, no, it's only 27 minutes. Come on. But there's plenty more. So don't have a heart attack when you see this. Now, the first thing you're probably going to notice is just how different the map layouts are. This is what's particularly striking, and I'm still not totally sure where I land on it. They have totally revamped a ton of things. For one, the map is way better. It's actually usable. It's a full 3D map.
Yeah, they need a full 3D map because they said that this bad boy is gonna have a lot of verticality, okay? And yeah, you see this. I also instantaneously noticed it while he was playing. Can't see it because I'm in front of it, but yeah. The mini-map is visible where are ledges and whatnot.
So you can actually like trace how the maps are laid out. If you didn't play Monster Hunter Rise or World, like, this probably doesn't look that impressive. But if you played those games, you know how bad those maps were. They were basically unusable, just like pieces of paper basically stacked on top of each other. But now you can actually get in and see individual granularity. My only note on this that I hope they balance as we get closer is it's super sensitive. So if you touch it even just a tad, it zooms out a ton or very quickly. And if you do a hard press where it triggers the adaptive trigger thing, it zooms all the way out completely. So you'll have many times where we accidentally zoom all the way in if you're trying to quickly check a map. So that's something I hope that they tweak and adjust, because it's just a little too sensitive for my liking. But other than that, this is just like wonderful. This is so much better than it used to be. I can't even begin to tell you. I also wanted to show you some more stuff in camp.
By the way, just judging from the map, you can just tell how cool it is because of all the places, ways you can move through, in and around it. It's very impressive.
Wonderful. This is so much better than it used to be. I can't even begin to tell you. I also wanted to show you some more stuff in camp, but a lot of this stuff is not actually available. You try to talk to people and they have like a line saying they're prepping still, and there's nothing else beyond that. So I'm sorry if you were hoping for black.
Listen, leave the woman alone, okay? She has a tough life, okay?
Blacksmith
she needs to polish my sword.
I do not have it. And then there's also this cat over here named Tom, who I was really looking forward to working with, but he also says he needs more time. So this beta is definitely just about getting you in, doing a couple of cutscenes, letting you do character customizer and all of that, and then kind of setting you free to just go and do some random hunts with a few monsters. But other than that, they're not going to do a whole lot. They also have seamless character transitions between like the character creator and then into a cutscene. Like, what is this? This is Monster Hunter? Like, what? When have they ever done anything that smooth and silky? I mean, come on. That is
pretty nice. I like it, okay? Again, there's going to be a lot to like. Again, yeah, this is going to be one of the best games of the... Well, it's not launching this yet, but it's going to be one of the better games when it launches by far.
Pretty. They then take you and have you do like the tutorial boss fight where it's just introducing you to the basic mechanics of the game. They introduce here like the first big change, which is that they have a new focus mode designed around targeting weak points that are generated dynamically in combat. So as you're fighting a monster, you might wound it on the elbow, and then that will create a weakness that you can then target and break effectively. It's a cool idea for a system. Sometimes it works better than others. Some monsters, they'll get a weak point like in the small of their back where you can't really get to them if you're using a lot of different weapon types, at least not easily. So there's been some frustration, but I'm sure that also
boys, 2 weapons at the same time. That's right. You can use a sword and another sword, because everyone knows that's what it's gonna end like.
It's just a matter of growing pains. There you can see the glowing red spot, while in focus mode that opens the wound so that you can target it and deal increased damage there. Speaking of multiple weapons, they do now support using multiple weapons. You can actually have 2 on your person just based on your playstyle. So if you want to play with a great sword and then a hammer, you can do that. If you want to play
listen, again, great sword and another great sword.
with dual blades and great swords, you can do that. Like, they really empower you to choose.
Okay, that's obviously, I mean, people are gonna figure out probably combos that allow you to, you know, make the wounds, and then you take like some kind of daggers, and then you can stabby the wounds a lot easier. People are gonna obviously use it like that as combo pieces, but for now it's literally, hey, here's my great sword, here's my other great sword, what up?
What you want to do and how you want to play. Most players, I think, are going to have a ranged option and then maybe a close range option, which I think is a decent way to do it. But it does often feel like you just end up playing the same way you would normally play Monster Hunter, and that might just be because I play Monster Hunter the way I learned how to play Monster Hunter with Monster Hunter World. So I get my big weapon and I swing for the fences, and that's just what I do. And so having the option for multiple weapons is something I'm not used to, and I'm sure it's going to take me more than just a few hours in the beta to get a feel for how dynamic that could be. Plus, the monsters we were fighting are like the tutorial monsters. Like, some of them are tricky and chaotic and frantic, but none of them are so challenging that like you really need to use everything at your disposal. Like, for the most...
Yeah, you're not supposed to be broken instantaneously. It's supposed to be a little bit of time, and then you finally encounter something that absolutely you cannot deal with, and you kind of get depressed.
Most part, they're pretty straightforward. The one exception being this...
That's called good game design, okay?
Dude, he is pure chaos. Me and Corey went at him, and I mean, it was a lot. You can see he does a lot of damage. it was tough, but yeah, we had a really good time, and it's good to be back. Now, for those wondering whether or not this is like a total reinvention or this is a massive step up, like, oh
No,
man, look at that, I almost got
but good
one
enough.
shot with that. If you're wondering if this is going to be like a huge evolution or something, it's frankly not, as far as I can tell. This is a refinement, this is an iteration. It's not
Which is good. Again, I have been saying this for a long time now. We don't need to reinvent the wheel when it comes to games, okay? We just make a good game. It doesn't need to have like new innovations that no one even thought were possible, okay? If you do that, congratulations, your last epoch. Let's go. But typically, no. You can just make a good game and it's fine. You can just take the mechanics that you have, make them better, and people are going to be happy. Literally all of the Souls-like series is based upon that. They made Dark Souls, then they improved and improved and improved upon what they already had, and now we have Elden Ring, and well, you probably understand where I'm going with it. Or maybe you're a retard.
a revolution, okay? And I think that's okay because I didn't think the Monster Hunter formula was broken or anything. They've done some things like they want to have this sort of seamless transition between the camp and then when you go out on quests and hunts, they want to have a seamless transition between different areas that you go into, different environments that look totally distinct and different. And they do a good job of pulling that off from what I've seen. Only one map so far, but from what I've seen, they've done a really good job of that. But it doesn't feel that much different from Monster Hunter World. There's a couple of little bitty tweaks and changes like the focus mode. Some weapon types, you're probably going to be using focus mode for extended periods of time, and that's just going to be how you do stuff. Other times you're going to be not really relying it that much. Like as you can see here with my my longsword, I didn't really feel the need to use the focus mode that much because of the sweeping nature of the attack. It didn't really pinpoint areas that much, so I didn't feel the need to use it a ton. But you can see just how dynamic these areas are. You're meant to move from place to place. It's reminiscent of Monster Hunter World, but it still feels distinct at the same time. They, of course, also have these environmental things where they want there to be storms that come in and go out seamlessly.
Oh, there's a lot of no, wait, what? Environmental? Whatever. Elemental stuff that's going to be happening here. And that honestly looks awesome. The biome change from winter to spring to whatever the fuck it is. Oh, these things are gonna be pretty cool. There's gonna be a lot of stuff for people to find, and it's always fun going into a area in any game that you have already been in that you know of, and then there's something new or something changed, and you're like, oh my god, this rock, it was not here before. It's a new rock. Well, obviously that's a joke, but it's going to be a lot bigger here. And that's going to be very, very, very cool. I'm very interested to see what people actually think about it. Do they like it or not, or what's happening?
As you play, the environment should change. Certain animals and monsters should only come out during certain types of weather or certain times of day, basically. And so they just want it to feel more realistic in that sense. Now, having said that, when it does decide to transition out of the storm, you'll see how quickly it does it just into regular daylight. Here it's storming, and then there's going to be a point up here where it stops and it will go back to just regular daytime, and it's super sudden and abrupt, and then it's just back to normal. In this case, you know, we went back to fighting within a pit, which was a whole
yeah, it is a little bit abrupt, that's for sure.
Other thing, but it happens very, very quickly. Maybe a slower transition could be nice if they could tweak that, but I mean, it's honestly, it's not that big of a deal. It's just a little like, oh, it's daytime now. Yeah, it's just, oh, okay, well, storm's gone, whatever. So we've established it doesn't feel like that big of a revolution or anything crazy from what we've seen before. I think that's totally fine because I was perfectly fine with how the formula was working beforehand. But setting that aside, how does the game actually run? How does it actually function in moment-to-moment gameplay? Well, I'm, of course, playing this on PS5. That's the only place where it's available right now. As you can see, there's a lot of artifacting that's going to happen at...
It's a console. Like, if you're going on any game on a console and you're like, oh boy, I'm expecting 60 FPS and good graphics, Bro, you're lucky if you get one of those options. Okay? It's not even gonna be close. It's not even gonna be close. And if you're lucky, you can sacrifice graphics for FPS. Because FPS is more important than graphics.
Any given time, where you can see all sorts of bizarre, I think these are transparency artifacts, or like, I don't think they're upscaling artifacts. I had somebody explain to me what these are, but basically it's that checkerboard pattern you can see in some games, especially from Capcom, where they might be struggling to hit a specific resolution, so they render at a quarter resolution, then kind of guess on the rest. And pretty much no matter where you look, even though this is a 4K super high bitrate capture, you can see that pretty much all detail in the grass is gone, even as the text remains sharp. Everything behind it is super blurred. This is not going to be like the sharpest game. It's not going to be the most cutting edge 4K 60 whatever. There were plenty of times where it was struggling to run smoothly at all, and I'm sure that's only going to improve as we get closer to launch. But it's definitely something you notice when you're playing. When I first booted it up, I was like, "Oh, is there performance modes or something I can do? Is there something?" But it's just how the game runs. Is it that big of a deal? No.
No.
Like I said, we played for 3 hours.
But it would be good if it was less of a big of a deal, That's just blatantly the reality of this situation. It's not the end of the world, but it's not that bad. And is this pretty much it? Well, people are currently happy with it, and when Monster Hunter Wilds comes out, it's gonna be big, boys. It's gonna be pretty big. And people are gonna probably enjoy the living hell out of it. Again, Monster Hunter games are a pretty easy hit nowadays, so expecting good stuff. Anyway, that was a Luke didn't get a Dragon Age Railguard copy. Stephens, bye-bye.